Hello everybody and welcome to Ageless Rock, a channel for megalithic fans who can see things from a different perspective. In my previous video, I covered a little bit on the immensity of the layout of Preah temple of Kampong Svay. It is so huge there is little possibility that Cambodians would actually need such a structure for worship. Within this gigantic structure, there is a gigantic Baray with a mabon. There is a gigantic water tank and another gigantic moat surrounding a gigantic temple. Seems like everything here is extra large, but when it comes to publicity, it is extra small and extra low profile. The Baray itself is an amazing 2.8 kilometers long and 750 meters wide. We are looking at approximately 2.1 million square meters or 520 acres of land turned into a body of water we call Baray. Every scholar has an instinct to call this a reservoir, but just like all the other Barays, it cannot be proven as a reservoir. According to a field report, Industries of Angkor Project by Mitch Hendrickson, this Baray is 5.8 meters deep. So that means 12.18 million cubic meters of earth was removed to create an insane amount of water containment system. But today, no one knows how to use it. There is no canal or drainage system to use the water when needed. The project by Mitch Hendrickson shows there is a lot of smelting activities as evidence of slag shows iron production activities. However, I don't think that is enough to conclude they made enough chisels and hammers for this temple, let alone Angkor city. But he noted the population density is so low, it remains puzzling how so few can do so much. You can see the Baray virtually from the unpaved road, but most of the views are blocked off by trees. This photo shows you are looking at 750 meters across the width of the Baray. You would have thought you are looking at a natural lake if you are not told it is an unnatural water containment created about 1000 years ago. From the southeast corner of the Baray, you can see how vast half the Baray is. I say half the Baray because the horizon is the middle and the mabon is somewhere at the center of the horizon. The other half of the Baray is dried up and is behind the skyline. It is unreal that anyone would want to dig this up because they wanted a temple. I would like to take this opportunity to mention that there are 4 ponds in the mabon. You cannot see it from an aerial view because it is too heavily covered in vegetation. This Baray is not as simple as you think. It reminds me of the mabon in Jayatataka Baray called Nippon Temple, which I covered in my previous video. By walking around virtually, I think this is one of the pond. I wish it is more excavated and restored because if this is like Jayatataka Baray, then it will have a significant story related to health, where the concept of chi energy has a big part to play in the design. There could be a yin and yang concept that shapes the Baray and the moated temple. Jayatataka Baray measures 3,500 meters long and 900 meters wide, while the mabon is 390 meters long by 340 meters wide. The area of the Baray is 3.15 million square meters, and the island is 132,600 square meters. So that means the island mabon is about 4.2% of the area. This is what Jayatataka Baray with its mabon looks like when compared proportionately to Preah Kampong Svay Baray, where the length is 2,800 meters and the width is 750 meters. So the area is 2.1 million square meters. When I measure the length of the mabon, I can get a rough idea. It is approximately 305 meters long and the width is 290 meters wide. That will give an area size of 88,450 square meters. Surprisingly, that will give a ratio of 4.2% as well. You can play around the measurements and get a different percentage. This measurement has to be verified as I only pin roughly on the map. I'm not concerned even if it is off by 1%. The idea is that the Baray and the Mabon was proportionately created. It is probably for the purpose of creating a positive healing energy. This is an intelligent and sacred design where if it is done by human, it is impossible to lose it. All the structures inside the Mabon temple is in complete ruin. It doesn't seem like a place tourists would like to go because it is like a jungle trekking expedition. There isn't much to attract ordinary tourists, and obviously tour agencies are reluctant to promote. Let's check out the temple inside called Preah Thkol. The rectangular first enclosure with laterite walls measures 45 meters by 52 meters in size. North and south gopuras are huge, while east and west are small. This temple is in the shape of a cross. The temple is famous for statues of Hamsa, Garuda, and three-headed elephant called Airavata. Preah Thkol is in the middle of the Mabon. There are many structures within this enclosure. It has the famous Garuda on the outside of the sandstone temple. The temple is quite impressive, but the overall impression of this site is rather disappointing. As you can see from the rubble, the stones here are pretty big. I wonder how in the past it was removed from a bedrock, then dragged through the Mabon, and then dug a Baray so that it can be surrounded by water. But today, we couldn't even restore with the rubble waiting on the ground, ready to be put back to where it belongs. If this Mabon can be restored to its former glory and the silted Baray removed by 2 meters deep, it will be a fantastic place for tourists. This Baray and Mabon has great potential to be a tourist destination. It will be a majestic sight to see during sunrise and a spectacular sight during sunset. The first temple you will come across from northeast direction is Prasat Damrei. Damrei in Khmer language means elephant. So it is also called Elephant Temple because there are large elephants at the corners of the temple. But today, there are only 2 left standing for tourists to see. This temple looks like it has a moat. If it was once a moat, it would have been a 100-meter square moat. There seems to have a little bit of water on dry season to prove that. Damrei temple has the usual polygonal laterite stone wall built around it. At ground level, you can see the temple and the Naga balustrade, which is a typical moat structure as a causeway or bridge to the temple. In the center of the entire surrounding is a pyramid. It is rather strange to see a pyramid as a Buddhist monument. Look at this 15 meters tall pyramid. It is certainly an anomaly in Buddhist or Cambodian architecture. It seems like it is just a truncated pyramid with life-size elephants. One is now relocated to National Museum of Phnom Penh, while another one is in Guimet Museum in Paris. Today, there is one elephant left standing on top of the pyramid here, looking at the Baray for thousands of years, while the other one is at the ground level. Maybe these elephants should be returned to this temple when this temple is turned into a tourist site to attract more tourists. Today, no one knows what is this pyramid for. Since there are elephant statues, locals build a wooden shrine and worship Lord Ganesh. But worshipping Ganesh is for Hindus. Since the entire temple is considered a Buddhist temple, a smaller Buddha statue is placed at the center. This temple pyramid can also be found at Phluk temple. It is at the same southeast end of a Baray for Petit temple. This temple is an interesting topic for another day. This pyramid structure is very plain and has nothing to prove it is a tomb or a temple, and is definitely not a palace. For now, we know nothing about this pyramid, but I think it is an intelligent design for a purpose we will never know. Well, that's all for now. Hope you enjoy watching this short presentation on Preah Temple of Kampong Svay focusing on the Baray, and you have a wonderful day. See you next time. Lehai.